Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television, live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. United States expresses concern over what it calls worsening security situation in Nigeria, promises to assist the country. Lagos State Government holds special awareness session with teachers and school owners on symptoms of Ebola disease. President Jonathan gives assurances that his government will ensure that the economy works for all Nigerians. And Western leaders criticize Russia for its destabilizing influence in Ukraine. Well, all our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS, and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now, here are some of the pictures sent in by some of our Eyewitness reporters. We begin in Makurdi, Benue State, showing the railway on Pascal Malamo Street along the David Mark bypass, which leaves much to be desired. The next picture shows a long queue of electricity consumers stretched out from a banking hall in Warri, Delta State. It's a day's job to get the light bills paid. And finally, a large pothole on the old refinery road at Akpajo, Port Harcourt. Getting through this is a daily ritual for some motorists, definitely harrowing experience, and naturally, their cars bear the brunt. And now to the latest developments on the containment of the Ebola virus disease. As the nation awaits the federal government's announcement of the final resumption for schools across the country, the Lagos State government is taking a step to sensitize teachers and school owners on the deadly virus. And in Rivers State, which is one of the flashpoints for the virus at the moment, awareness is also being created. Our correspondent, Mary Alale Yusuf, reports.
The Lagos State government has alerted members of the public to activities of scammers marketing Ebola cassette test kits, which claim to give results in 10 minutes. In a statement signed by the special advisor on media to the governor, the authorities warn that there are no Ebola test kits manufactured anywhere in the world. Ahead of children's resumption to school, this meeting organized by the state government has teachers and proprietors from all around Lagos in attendance. The aim is to remind them of basic hygiene rules and to teach them how to determine if a child might have contracted EVD.
Have the parents been sick? Have they had any contact with somebody that knows Ebola? Or have they had any travel history to countries where Ebola has been detected? If the answer to those is no, then the child that has no Ebola, the child that nobody is a sick child, either refer to the hospital.
There's a session for questions and answers. Many teachers seem to agree that it was worth their time.
It's about teaching those children, no matter how little they are, let them know about this Ebola in the simplest way you can express it to them.
If anybody has got Ebola, the parent will be critically ill. And that's one major thing I have really learned from today's sensitization.
We have to take into cognizance our environmental sanitation, our personal hygiene, of most importance, the issue of regular hand washing.
This is a meeting of religious and traditional leaders with healthcare professionals and members of the Rivers State Executive Council, led by the governor, Chibuike Amechi. The goal is to generate cooperation among these leaders to manage their gatherings in such a way as to discourage the spread of the Ebola virus disease. It is an interactive forum, and in the end, there's a word of comfort.
There was a time that what we're talking about in the health sector, we're talking about in the community, was bird flu. I'm sure that everybody has something was heard about bird flu, and there was this great concern that this bird flu is the end of the world. For all these sinners, this is the end of the world.
and one of caution.
This also not preach that they can call for prayers. Preach that you pray for them when they get there.
In some cheery news for residents of Zaria in Kaduna State, and indeed Nigeria as a whole, the blood sample of a 19-year-old law student of the Ahmadu Bello University, suspected to have contracted the Ebola disease, has come up negative. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Pt.2, confirms the young man to be suffering from dengue fever, a viral disease with similar symptoms to Ebola. He is being treated in a hospital. Once again, people of influence and crowd gatherers are being urged by the authorities to take proactive measures to ensure the safety of those who depend on them and those who come to their meetings, and the message is the same. All hands must be on deck to defeat the Ebola virus disease. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
The United States Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, has called on the Nigerian government to assist other West African countries in the containment of the Ebola virus. She made this request today after meeting with the Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, in Abuja. Mrs. Thomas-Greenfield is on an official visit to Nigeria to attend a security meeting as well as discuss issues on health and politics.
I commended the minister and his staff and the government of Nigeria for how effectively they have been working to deal with the Ebola outbreak here in Nigeria. They're taking all the right steps to control this, and they are having great success here. I appeal to the minister to assist neighbors in Liberia and Sierra Leone as they also grapple with this terrible outbreak. We're very, very concerned about the spread of the Ebola disease in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, but efforts are being made proactively every single day with the support of our Center for Disease Control, with WHO, with the medical community around the continent of Africa and around the world to support those efforts to control the outbreak in those three countries. And again, I really commend everything that has been done here in Nigeria to control the outbreak here in Nigeria.
Brothers and sisters, keeper, Nigeria helped found ECOWAS. If you remember, it was during General Yakubu Gowon's when he was head of state that ECOWAS was established, and Nigeria continues to play that leading role in ECOWAS. We're going to assist our sister nations, but let me also reaffirm that the United States of America has fully been part of this battle to contain Ebola virus disease in Nigeria. The US CDC has done wonderfully well. Even if you go remotely, part of the infrastructure we have in Nigeria was because CDC, US CDC, worked with Nigeria to get them established.
In the meantime, experts from the World Health Organization, WHO, are meeting to discuss treatment for the Ebola virus disease. The meeting, which is holding in Geneva, reveals that although several drugs have shown potential for treatment, $600 million is needed to fight Ebola in West Africa. The federal government has reassured Nigerians that the challenge of erosion, especially in the southeast, will come to an end in a few years. The Minister of Environment, Mrs. Laurentia Malam, told journalists in Abuja today that the erosion disaster in the region is pathetic. Our correspondent, Gloria Umezioke, reports.
The economic cost of gully erosion and watershed, which has become the usual sight in many communities in the southeastern part of Nigeria, is devastating. Thousands of people become stranded and stripped of their livelihoods and lands owing to persistent erosion that has been intensified in recent years. An intervention plan spearheaded by the concerned states few years ago gradually gave birth to the Nigerian Erosion and Watershed Management Project, NEWMAP.
You can see the zeal that the states involved have come, and I want to believe that it will succeed. because they are suffering. The communities will hold them responsible, and that's why I made this call that communities should be involved. They should monitor what is being done because it is government's money, it is their money.
You now have a step that will commence the tackling of that problem. At least you have to stop its accelerating, without sort of reversing it and start doing the right thing.
The root causes of gully erosion appears complex. The soils in southern Nigeria are highly susceptible to water erosion, so once a gully starts, it expands rapidly and becomes difficult to tame.
Some come in form of sheet erosions, but if not well treated at an early stage, it becomes a gully erosion. So treating the shoulders and the adjacent and the surroundings area by grassing the area and planting of trees will control sheet erosion that will eventually become gully erosions. This is the new approach.
It's not just acts of God, it also involves the communities. I went to visit a site, for example, and it was clearly that where they had put the houses, inevitably in a fragile terrain, you would expect something like that.
The new map is a strategic investment loan of over $500 million for an 8-year period to help reduce the nation's vulnerability to erosion. The story of gully erosions and its devastating effects in different states across the country is not new, but now expectations are high that the federal government, with its latest effort, would finally put the issue of gully erosion and its menace to an end in the near future. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
When the News at 10 returns, President Jonathan inaugurates National Council on Small and Medium Enterprises. That's on Business News. Please join us again.